We've probably all said at one time or another, I don't have a clue, or I'm in the dark about that. Maybe it's in response to a question. We might also have said, as an idea came to us, then the light bulb came on. Hello, this is John Michael Grogan with Advancing Your World. We all have a darkroom, and it has nothing to do with photography, but everything to do with concealing who we are at the core, our dark thoughts, forbidden fantasies, jealousies, prejudices, bigotries, and hatreds. This room is closed off to everyone, including God. There are two paradoxes here. The first is that our dark room is the very room God wishes to enter. The things in this room are the things He, as the great physician, wants to liberate us from. Seneca, the great Roman philosopher, said, "I have been seeking to climb out of the pit of my besetting sins, and I cannot do it. And I never will, unless a hand is let down to draw me up." This first mid-century philosopher understood that there is a power higher and greater than we are. The second paradox is, we can only maintain a shadow life, a ruse, for just so long before the doors of our darkroom are blown off its hinges. We are, of course, all terrified by the prospect of this happening, to be exposed to a judgmental, unforgiving world. So, we make a futile attempt to conceal what's in our darkroom, our inner self. What we yearn for, what our soul screams out for, is someone who will not judge us but accept us in spite of our weaknesses. I want someone that I can be transparent with, but my fear says, what if they reject me? I'll have no place to hide. And so my performance continues. The end result of this charade is spiritual isolation and loneliness. Unfortunately, we live in a society where condemnation trumps mercy. Moreover, we have too many magpies, chatterboxes, people who want to be the harbinger of bad news, gossips. Most of us, it seems, find it easier to talk about our ideals than to live up to them. The surest way to live with honor, Socrates said, is to be brave enough to be what we would appear to be. Some people understand that God didn't come to make evil people good. He came to make dead people alive, to free us from the bondage of shame. But God doesn't force himself on anyone. If we choose to open the door and invite the physician in, our great transformation begins. I'll be right back.
Learn how to achieve top-of-mind awareness within your local target market. Hi, my name is Lovely Lancaster, entrepreneur, speaker, and author of the Ultimate Toma Marketing Plan for the Super Successful. This book was written to help business professionals grow market share, profit margins, as well as community fan base using target marketing and strategic growth techniques. So secure your copy on Amazon or by texting the word TOMA, T-O-M-A, to 31996. You will receive discounted pricing on the book as well as other promotions and book tour information such as dates at a bookstore or university near you. The Ultimate Toma Marketing Plan, now available on Amazon, Audible, Books A Million, and Barnes & Noble stores near you.
President Ronald Reagan drew us back to our essential core when he quoted Peter Marshall, twice appointed chaplain of the U.S. Senate. The choice before us, Marshall said, is plain. Christ or chaos, conviction or compromise, discipline or disintegration. Ursula K. Le Guin, author of The Lathe of Heaven, said, He knew that insofar as one denies what is, one is possessed by what is not. The compulsions, the fantasies, the terrors that flock to fill the void. Earlier, I mentioned our dark thoughts, jealousies, and secret hates. Remember, our mind is never vacuous. It never shuts down. Even while sleeping, the gears of our mind are in motion. The fact that we have dreams proves this. The battle, then, is really for the mind. Former Senator from Wyoming, Alan Simpson, said, "Hatred corrodes the container it's carried in. Hatred is rottenness to the bones and wears down the one who is not inoculated against it. Hatred is like taking poison and wishing your enemy would die. Forgiveness is one of the moral imperatives for being at peace in our soul. Improving ourselves is always challenging. In his book, The Imitation of Christ, Thomas à Kempis mentions that no conflict is so severe as his who labors to subdue himself. The mind is the great battlefield, for an action either ill or noble is first conceived in the mind. There are few things so gratifying as winning at something we have labored diligently to win. But we should be aware that the greater the prize, the greater the resistance, and the more tenacity and perseverance it demands. One of the most valuable things we can have in life is a mentor or life coach, someone who's older and wiser than we are. How can one 30-year-old advise another 30-year-old when they're both struggling with the same life issues? With someone older and wiser to offer impartation, to speak into our life, we can avoid many of life's snares and pitfalls. Someone said, when an older person dies, it's like a library burning down. Philosopher, essayist, poet, and novelist George Santayana said, "Those who do not remember the past are condemned to repeat it." This applies to nations as well as to individuals. We can have a mentor for business or life, or both. I cannot think of anything more rewarding than being a spiritual life coach to someone. When the silversmith drains off the dross full of impurities and can see his reflection in the silver, he can then make a beautiful chalice. Like silver, sometimes it takes high heat to draw out our impurities. God is the silversmith. With our impurities burned off, we become flawless, and God can see himself in us. Then others can see God in us. Quite an enviable honor, I would say. This is John Michael Grogan saying, be strong, be bold, be courageous. And remember, people would rather hear the truth than flattery.
Sign up for exclusive access to Dr. Grogan's newsletter, and as an added bonus, you'll receive access to the growth chart that Dr. Grogan talks about in the podcast Majoring in the Majors. Visit johnmgrogan.com and sign up today. That's johnmgrogan.com. And don't forget, subscribe to Advancing Your World on your favorite podcast app.